Hello, Dr. Colson. I'm Elizabeth Spencer, and this is my culture chest. First thing that you'll notice is I chose a white background for the outside of my culture chest because I am white, and that has been such a huge influence in my life, even though I often don't recognize it and I don't see the privileges and opportunities that I have being white, and until I learn about other races and learn that they don't often have those opportunities or access to resources and things that I have had. So I wanted to make sure that that was on the background. And the other thing I chose was a baby carriage. I have been a mother for 12 years. I have 4 boys. I always have a baby on my hip. I always have a baby in the shopping cart or bustling kids around in the car. I think people identify me pretty readily as a mother. I also identify as a woman, and I think I'm perceived as a woman. I think that's a huge privilege that I have, to be able to live the gender and identity that I feel. I live in a suburban home, and I drive a SUV. I very much fit into the culture in which I live. Everybody around here has a similar home and a similar car, so I'm very much perceived as middle class. I glued these speaking lips to this flag to represent that I speak English and I have an American accent. I am readily identified as an American, and I know that that is not the case for all Americans. Unfortunately, I know that there are some who, because of their language or accent, may receive discrimination, be discriminated against. And so I do find that as a privilege that I have. This is a tag from one of my pairs of jeans. I am a plus size woman. I'm a size 16, and that definitely has had an influence on my identity. As a child, I was teased and bullied for my size, and that definitely influenced how I viewed my own body and some poor behaviors that I developed in my adolescence. I am Mormon, and I chose this no coffee, no alcohol sign. I think that that's one of the first things that people notice about me as a Mormon, that I don't drink coffee and I don't drink tea or alcohol. And so that's one way that people can identify me as a Mormon. Okay, and on the inside, I will show you what I have. I chose, so speaking of religion, I actually put this picture of a Book of Mormon with an LGBTQIA flag, because even though I am Mormon, I support the LGBTQIA group. I very much believe that everyone, despite like sexual orientation and gender and all that, deserve rights. They deserve to be married. They deserve to be in healthy relationships with each other, which is not always the same as what the members of my faith believe. And so that is something that other people in my circle, like other members of the congregation, may not know about me unless they actually talk to me. As well as I vote democratically most of the time. And this is an interesting symbol because I do live in a very conservative Republican area, and it just depends on what group of people I'm talking to. But if people do get wind of my political views, sometimes that can cause a barrier in our relationship. I try to be very kind about it, but I also do try to be do voice my opinion when I feel like it is a topic that I'm very passionate about. The education is a big part of my worldview and my identity. It's something that was very important to my grandmother and very important to my mother and very important to me. But I do know that like when me and my husband are talking to a group of people, especially like a group of other men, they a lot of times will ask him where he went to school and what he does for work, and rarely will they ever ask me the same question. I think they just assume that I'm a stay-at-home mom and I don't have an education, which I do. So I oftentimes will have to like volunteer that information to them, which I don't always do. I sometimes don't want to sound pretentious, but it's kind of silly because like they're just assuming that I'm not educated anyway. So I chose that because I thought that was important, but not always known about me. I chose these dance shoes. Dance is definitely something that's super important to me, and has been important to my personal culture. I've met a lot of friends through dance, and been able to serve a lot of people in the community through dance. I led a nonprofit dance fitness group for several years, but because of my size, because of my shape, I don't think this is well known, and I do think that sometimes I get identified as a person who doesn't care about physical activity, or that I'm lazy or something because of my size, which is just absolutely not true. I do care, and I do love to move. So, and then the last thing I chose was more to illustrate like part of my ethnicity. My grandmother's parents are from Denmark. They came to Utah and settled in a place called Spring City. And in Spring City, the people there are very, very much proud of their Danish culture. It's kind of like a little Denmark there. All the houses are like Danish style, and people are just have a lot of like foods and cultural things that are tied to Denmark. And my family goes to visit there often. My grandmother always wanted to make sure that we understood our Danish heritage. And as a part of that, an interesting part of that, and this may be stereotypical, I don't know, but my grandmother always kind of emphasized that like Danish people were very neat and very tidy, and she wanted to impress that upon my mother and me very much, which could sometimes cause a lot of anxiety and a lot of pressure to try to keep everything in the house really neat, really tidy, even despite the fact that my mother worked full-time, that she was the only income earner in the home, and she also felt this huge amount of pressure to keep her house just like spotless, but she felt like she was falling behind all the time. And that's something that I've had to work with and overcome in my own life as well, in not feeling that pressure to always look, to always have what my grandmother would say, a Danish home, Whether that was like a real thing or not, I don't know, but it definitely influenced us. So anyway, I have loved doing this assignment. It has been so eye-opening to me. I'm really excited to write more about it and describe what my process was like and what it taught me. So thank you.